Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want more videos about coding interview. So in this video, we'll be solving the problem LeetCode odd even linked list. So let's get started. So the problem is that they give us a single linked list and they ask us to group all the odd nodes together, followed by the even nodes. So the tricky part in this question is that we are not talking about the value of the nodes, but we are talking about the node numbers. For example, the first node is considered odd and the second one is considered even, and so on. And also we must solve this problem with a constant space complexity of O of 1 and a linear time complexity. So let's say we have this input singly linked list. So as we know from the details of the question, the odd numbers start at the first node, therefore we will point a variable called odd at the head of the linked list, which is the first node. Also, as we know that the second node are even node, we'll point another variable called even to the next node after the first one. Furthermore, since we know that the second node will be the start of the even linked list, we will set another variable called even list that also point to the second node in the linked list and which will be the head of the even linked list at the end of the loop. So the principle of this algorithm is to be able to rearrange the linked list by grouping the odd nodes in the first half of the linked list and the even nodes in the second half of the linked list. After that, we're gonna loop over the linked list by using the even pointer. So at the first iteration, we're gonna set the next pointer of the odd node to be pointing at the node after the even node, which is in this example is the node with the value 3. After that, we will move the odd variable or pointer to point at the next odd node which have the value 3. Then we will set the even next pointer to be pointing at the next node after the new odd node which have the value 5. And then we move the even pointer to point at the even next node which have the value of 5. So at the next iteration, we'll repeat the same process by pointing the next pointer of the current odd node to be the next node after the even node which have the value 6, and then we're gonna move the odd pointer to the next node. After that, we set the next pointer or the even pointer to point at the next node after the odd node which have the value 4, and next we move the even pointer to be pointing at the next node with the value of 4. So at the last iteration, we will move the next pointer of the current odd to be pointing at the next node after the even node which have the value 7, and we move the odd pointer to be pointing at the node with the value 7. So after that, we will set the even node to be pointing at the node after the current odd node, which is currently the end of the linked list. So once we are at the end of the linked list and the even pointer is pointing to null, we will break the loop and move to rearranging or grouping the two linked lists. So we're gonna set the next pointer of the odd node to be pointing at the even list node, which is the head of the even linked list. And that's how we're gonna group them in one linked list that have the half of odd nodes and half of even nodes. So the time complexity for this solution is often since we are looping over the linked list once, and the space complexity is of 1 since we are not allocating additional memory. That's it, guys. So let's jump at coding the solution. So first we start by checking if the linked list is empty, we return none, or we return the empty linked list. Then we initialize the two pointers. The first variable will be the odd variable and its value will be set to the head of the linked list. Then we set the second variable even to be pointing at the second node, which is the node after the odd node. After that, we initialize the even list, which will be the head of the even linked list at the end of the loop, and set his value to be the even node. Then we will loop over the input linked list using the even node. So we'll even and even.next is not null. We move the next pointer of the node of the odd node to be pointing at the next node after the even node, and after that we move the odd pointer to point at the next odd node. Then we move the next pointer of the even node to be pointing at the node after the current odd node, and the same thing that we did before for keep tracking of the odd node, we move the even node to the next node. So once the even node reaches the end of the linked list, we will group the two linked lists by pointing the odd next pointer to the even list node, which represent the head of the even half of nodes. Finally, we return the head of the linked list. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video.